Okay, I want to tell you what happened just yesterday right on this spot. See that little tiny bridge right over there? About 40 minutes before it was going to really get completely dark out, Eddie, and he was on my shoulder here, and Pepper and Comet and I were walking along this way, and when we got to the middle of the bridge there, Eddie took off from my shoulder and flew out over what that bridge is over. Let me go show you where all this happened. We were walking along here, and we got to this spot right here on this wooden bridge when something startled Eddie, and he lifted up and he went that direction right there. And what's out there starts out looking like this. And he flew out over my head, right down the middle of what you can see, and veered to the right. I put the dogs back over by the corner over here. I tied them down quick here, like you would tie off a horse in the westerns when they tie it up and run off, because Eddie wasn't here. He was out there somewhere and I didn't know where. I had to tie up the boys because I couldn't have them wandering off. And I ran from where I had the boys all the way through here, and I started running up here yelling, "Eddie, Eddie, Eddie." And I ran all along here thinking he was somewhere over here, somewhere in the reeds, and I wasn't hearing anything at all. I stopped and I went in here. And when I got to this spot, I went in as far as I could to see if I could see him. And I was calling his name, saying, "Holler, say something, Eddie." And I went in like this. And I didn't see him anywhere. And I didn't hear him either. So I suddenly felt like I had to check on the boys again to make sure they were still secure, because I didn't need having them run off too somehow. And I went back and I came back and I saw that they were fine. I tied another knot and I went back as fast as I could over here. And to make a long story short, I came running across here, and he must have been about where you're looking from right there. And he heard me call out his name and he flew straight at me, and I caught him right here in my hands. And we stood and embraced each other for a few minutes. He was gone for a while. Only a few seconds a while, but I can't describe the emptiness I felt for those few seconds when he had up and gone off that bridge and hovered over these reeds here and disappeared, and I didn't hear him. And then going back and checking and coming back, and I called his name, and that little sucker flew right out at me. It was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. He's done that once before. We were in a place at the market and he flew off my shoulder, and I hollered to him and he made a big arc, and I caught him right here. We are truly bonded, he and I. I'm his daddy. He knew to come out of these reeds. He was away from us. He was alone in here. I was going to stay as long as it took. I only had about 40 minutes of light left though, but when I came running back after checking on the boys again, and he came running out, he didn't come running out, when he came flying out of the reeds like that, it was like off an aircraft carrier or a slingshot. It was such a, it wasn't over here or over there or anything, it was right at my chest. He saw me, he heard me, and he came back to me. And his name is Eddie Bridges. I guess that was his baptism. But he's back and everything's fine. And I wanted to share my story of my almost loss, and how amazingly happy it makes you feel when you come that close and you survive and you get to have another day. This all happened on July 30th, 2017. Today is July 31st, 2017. And I had to tell it while it was still fresh. Life is good. Peace. Do you have any idea how upset I would be